connection breath in early postpartum. If you've done the regular connection breath with me before, this is very similar. We just have a few extra considerations postpartum to take into account. We're really just working on activating the deep core muscles of the lower belly. We can do this laying on our backs, laying on our side, and then eventually we'll do this in other positions as well, specifically in early postpartum. Normally, I don't cue to activate that part of the body with exercise, as often I find that it leads to kind of an over tense pelvic floor. But in early postpartum, this is a really great time to be more mindful of that part of the body and to use that kind of brain body connection. So let's talk about it laying down. So laying on your back, knees up, feet on the floor. We'll do our diaphragmatic breathing. So you've already done this in your early postpartum recovery. Nice big inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. On your exhale, instead of just kind of letting everything relax, we're going to actually think about contracting, activating, bringing together the lower belly muscles. So if you think hip bones in the front, they're just going to slightly pull towards each other. Okay, so nice long inhale, exhale, slowly find that connection down here. I sometimes refer to this area as your pelvic triangle. So you have your two hip bones and your pubic bone, and parallel to the floor, they make a triangle. Okay, so we're just kind of activating, bringing that whole area together. Early postpartum, you might feel like there is nothing going on down here. That's totally normal and appropriate. When I was doing all of this work a year ago myself, with my second postpartum, I remember thinking the first time I did this exercise, are my muscles gone? Why can't I feel them? What's happening? They're still there. And after, it was probably like the 5th day, I felt like, okay, I can start to feel some stuff happening again. So it does take a little time. Please give yourself patience and compassion and grace. You were just pregnant and now you're not. Think about that on your torso, how dramatic of a difference it is. You know, especially pregnancy is already dramatic, but we have, 40, 41, 42 weeks to get to our biggest point, and then we shrink so quickly. And I don't mean shrink like we bounce back, we lose baby weight. I just mean that uterus contracts so rapidly. It gets back down to its pre-pregnancy size pretty quickly in the grand scheme of things. All these organs that were squished now have room. Things just feel different for your body. So it's going to take your torso a little bit of time to find its center again, to find its balance again. So, tangent. Nice big inhale and exhale. Exhale, just feel a connection through here. We'll do that a few times. In early postpartum, I think it's great to relax the contraction each rep. So other times I might have you keep the connection and then still try to take an inhale and really lengthen through the upper body. I just want you to relax that contraction. Don't feel like you need to keep it. Think, especially if you're prone to having too much tension in the pelvic floor, trying to keep that connection early postpartum when there's a lot of weakness or potential compensation happening, it's just not a great idea. That's also why you will see in the program that I usually nestle the connection breath with diaphragmatic breathing. So I really want your pelvic floor to relax and lengthen after you do any type of contraction, okay? So that's just the kind of lower abdominal muscles. If you feel like you want to add in a little pelvic floor lift, you definitely can. It's great if you've already been working with a pelvic floor physical therapist and you know, like, hey, yep, I need a little bit more work with contractions in my pelvic floor, or nope, I'm going to steer clear of contractions because my pelvic floor is already holding too much tension all the time. I need to keep working on lengthening and letting go. So it can be really helpful to have that conversation with a physical therapist and an assessment. Usually they'll want to see you sometime 4 to 8 weeks postpartum. So you might just not be at that point of seeing them yet. So use your best judgment based on how your body feels, if you've worked with a physical therapist in the past. If you can feel like there's gripping in your pelvic floor, if you're holding tension, it's a great indicator that you probably don't need to be doing any contraction work down there. We need to be doing lengthening work. So we can do this on our back, on our side, same thing. I'm just going to show you on my side now to give you a different view, but we'll just add in that pelvic floor lift. So if I'm on my side, my head is relaxed, I'm laying on my arm, I have my hips, knees, and ankles stacked, they're bent, so I'm not totally straight, I'm giving my body a little support. You could also do this with your bottom leg straight and your top leg bent, kind of rolled over, whichever. So nice big inhale, exhale, feel the connection, and then I'm going to do a little scoop and lift of the pelvic floor. And then just let it all relax, okay? Don't try to hold that connection too long right now. Exhale, scoop and lift. Inhale, lengthen. Let it all go. Exhale, scoop and lift. Inhale, lengthen. Okay. It might feel best to do that on your back first, on your side. We'll play around with it. Another thing that might be really helpful is to actually place your hand in that area, either on top of that triangle spot or on top of your vulva. So outside your clothes, just gently placing it on, you know, the outside of your vulva. Just that little bit of physical feedback can help you kind of make that connection with the body. Because again, it's really normal to just feel like my brain is trying to communicate with those muscles and nothing is happening. So just a hand there can kind of help give your body a little bit more feedback to do that scoop and lift up. And then lengthen and relax. Okay, so connection breath on our back, supine. On our side, if you're doing it side lying, we'll just make sure we flip over and do the same thing on the other side, so you're not always laying on the same side. And if you're a C-section delivery person, just make sure that you are being super mindful standing up. Everyone who gives birth should be mindful about their positioning getting up. But if you're recovering from a C-section, you know, you just have to be so careful with that incision. We're trying not to strength, lengthen, crunch, twist, do any movements that are going to be really messing with that incision, especially that first 4 to 6 weeks.